The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Postgame pod. A happier postgame pod because the Celtics win Game 4 against the Orlando Magic. 107-98 down in Orlando. They're up 3-1. Kayla Burton. I'm less grumpy than I was the other night when the Celtics threw the ball over the gymnasium.
When you were the gymnasium.
And then Eddie got mad.
Which Eddie called you out for. The gymnasium. How many of you guys, please comment, subscribe, all of it. Like, let me know how many of you all use the word gymnasium, or what else is there?
I didn't know it was like, I mean, he thought it was very funny. I
haven't heard gymnasium. I can't
colloquial
even
version.
say it correctly in a minute.
Well, the Celtics went into the Orlando Magic's gymnasium and
Beat the
we had a
brakes.
championship response to that disaster the other night. What was your biggest takeaway from
Well,
tonight?
I prepared for this, Chris. I wore my green suit. This is one of the suits where you can, like.
Do you want to talk about how you had to change your shoes?
Yeah, I was wearing heels, but you guys know this is podcasting hour. We're chilling. I'm surprised we're not.
I took that blazer off 30 seconds after we
And
finished
for those
the show.
of you who are listening and can't see what we're wearing here, we meaning me, I'm like an all green suited, like definitely bigger than the XL size for what I should be wearing. And
you in the
it's
95
those,
draft class.
It's one of those, like, you just walk on the court, before you.
Yeah,
It's a
rip it
pregame
off.
warm up, just boom, the buttons. So whatever it was, it worked here for the Celtics tonight. Okay, game wise, God, so many takeaways. I feel like.
Come on, you came into Postgame Plus and you were like, I got a hot take.
I got a hot take. It was Al Horford. It was Al Horford
So
against
go there.
KCP. I'm gonna go there. I can't wait to be live at the Garden, and I hope to see many, many, if not every single person there, getting ready for just. To bring the energy against KCP. And it's no dig at KCP. I love that this is playoff energy, that the Orlando Magic are bringing it. Like, they're not a bad team at all, to say the least. They don't even have Jalen Suggs out there. And they're fighting, and they're doing whatever they can to fight against the Celtics. And for them, what's working is their physicality. But when you get Al Horford hot and bothered, when you get him pointing at you like he is Ian being grounded after he came home, late or had a D on his homework or whatever it was, that's when you know.
Don't put that on Ian.
It's not Ian's fault. Ian, you're great. I think with Al having the 5 blocks that he had here tonight, didn't score a whole lot of points, but was just like he was fighting for his teammates. That's the kind of series we're getting right now.
I always say it, right? Like, Al is great at knowing what the game needs. And so, you come in and, okay, there are going to be nights where teams leave him alone. He's got to knock down threes. He's got to be a scorer. Tonight, it didn't matter. Like, this is a rock fight out there, and they're not giving up threes, so you're not going to get a lot of looks. I'm trying to think that he took 3 threes. Missed them all. But defensively, he was amazing. The 5 blocks. He came out of nowhere to swat Corey Joseph, knocked that ball straight to Kissimmee. I loved everything about the way Al played defense. He got into it early. There was that little flare-up. And I think it was just it wasn't even that like a nasty play by Wendell Carter Jr. But Al was just like, this game is not going there. You guys have had your flagrants.
Yep.
Knock it off, just like a dad. Hey, go to your room. Everyone cool out.
Come correct.
Yeah.
Come correct.
And making sure things didn't escalate from there. But I thought he gave the game exactly what it needed. There was a late sequence where he had the offensive rebound, fed Derek White for a bucket with like 3 or 4 minutes to go. I thought it was a huge in that moment. Just Al knows how to do it. But we weren't the only ones who thought Al was pretty great. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown were pretty complimentary after the game as well.
Tremendous effort from Al, down the stretch in that second half. Big-time rebounds, some big-time plays. That block was huge. He just did what it took to win. So we don't expect nothing less. That's just Al Horford in a nutshell.
I can't say it enough. Al is unbelievable. Big moments, right? Game is tied, 4 minutes left, and just making plays the entire night on both ends of the floor. 38 years old, he's picking up full court, doing whatever is asked of him. And that just kind of sets the tone for everybody else. He got the heart of a champion.
Well, speaking of Jayson Tatum, probably should have him pretty high up here in the podcast.
This guy's ridiculous.
We should have both Jaylen and Jayson. They were both special in their own ways. Jayson Tatum, 37 points, 14 for 14 at the free throw line, 14 rebounds. What was the others? 3 assists, 3 steals?
3 assists, 3 steals, and by the way, he had 36 the other night.
Jeez.
And his wrist isn't even fully there.
So I guess in the postgame, he gave credit to Baylor Shireman for coming up with the wrist celebration. So it feels like the Rook is pretty elite with coming up with celebrations. I don't know if you've seen him and Torrey Craig when he's got maybe not. Don't go look for that video, NBA. But I love that Tatum is embracing. Yeah. Same deal, right? Like misses a game from this wrist injury. Clearly doesn't love. Had another hit the ground hard in this one. But hangs in there, is just relentless getting to the free throw line, carries his team through the fourth quarter offensively, and gets you to the finish line of a win. And I do laugh because everyone's always like, oh, man, Jayson Tatum doesn't do what superstars do, isn't clutch, whatever the narrative is.
Softest superstar in
the
league.
It's just another 30-point playoff game, just another mesmerizing effort to get his team to the cusp of advancing in the playoffs.
And he's on lists that have names with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like
Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson,
all these guys.
Yeah,
and yet he doesn't. And I've heard this take of people think that there's one side of he doesn't get as much credit and is underrated, and there's the other side of no, people think that he's underrated but he's not. And I just think if you haven't been an MVP like he deserves to be, or even in the finalists, and you're putting up numbers like you're doing right now, and there's a big A&D with that, putting up numbers the way you are right now and bringing your team to hopefully another NBA Finals run, I don't know what screams at you more than MVP than that. I don't. I really don't.
I'm just refreshing the Pacers Bucks score, and unfortunately, Dame Lillard sounds like a feared Achilles injury. You don't want to make light of that, but Giannis is going to finish ahead of Tatum in the final MVP voting. We've already seen Tatum wasn't a finalist. Giannis is. He'll finish third behind SGA and Jokic. And Giannis had a great season, but Giannis is about to lose in the first round of the playoffs. And here's Jayson Tatum, who has won championship, who's been to the finals in 22, who has won a gold medal, and now is still not getting the respect he deserves.
You know what the league needs to do? They need to really categorize what MVP means. Because if it's stats, if it's personal stats, Giannis, all power to you. He should be in the top 3. But if it is MVP, most valuable, when you think of valuable player, it's not most player that scores the most points. It's valuable. What does the value of you mean to the team? And I feel like Jayson Tatum's value means it's beyond me, and it's
hard to quantify. I get it, right? But I think I always come back to, I just wish people prioritize winning more.
Yeah, I agree.
How can we not reward 60-win seasons when not a lot of guys out there are doing it?
Let's just say this: if he does it back to back. If they go back to back and this man's on MVP, I kind of love it. I hate it, love it. It's the highlight reel that he'll put out and the Celtics will put out will be awesome.
All you have is trophies for winning titles. It's not the worst thing, No. In the individual accolades, he'll get some Finals MVPs in there, and that will be probably enough for him. Actually, let's hear some more from Jayson Tatum after this game.
Jayson, you're asked to do a lot, but when they're cutting off the guys that you have been passing to, since the All-Star break, you had been passing. You'd been racking up a lot of assists. That's kind of gone away in this series. They're specifically taking that away. Can you just explain what they're doing to take that away, and what does that force you to do?
Yeah, I think it just emphasizes those times when guys are open. You got to make sure you find them, making sure that. Just making use of everybody that's on the floor. They got a game plan. They got some good defenders. You can obviously see they're trying to not help as much and things like that. But, we still got to find ways to get some movement, so I can create for other guys, especially like our shooters off the bench and stuff like that.
Jayson, obviously those big buckets down the stretch, they were keeping it close throughout the whole game. Then you had that, a couple buckets, got to the free throw line a couple times. You've been in the league a long time, but against a team as physical as this, what does it take to stay poised in those moments and sort of stay calm and just make the right plays? Joe used the word poise, so what does it take to do that in those big spots?
Just understanding, right? Like you said, it's my 8th year in the playoffs. I done played 115 some odd playoff games. So just, I've been here before. Been in these moments. Just stay composed and, don't get distracted by, outside things or whatever. Just try to make the right read, focus on the next play, stay level-headed and just do what you can to help your team be in a position to get a win.
Jason, you got to line 14 times, and Jaylen did 10 or 11. Obviously, physicality has been kind of the theme of this series. How much of that is a result kind of embracing it and putting the pressure on them at the rim and making those plays? And then what does it do for you guys offensively to kind of get those?
You just kind of said it, putting the pressure on them. Playoffs presents us a lot of different things. Each game is different. And I say it all the time, sometimes you just got to beat your matchup, right? You just got to be able to make a play for you or somebody else. I think we did that pretty well tonight.
Jayson, what's with the wrist, Celly?
I missed game 2. Shout out to the Rook, man. Bailey, he came up with the celebration when I hit a 3. I think people taking notice, and it's the new thing for now.
And how has the wrist held up? 36-37 tonight, played the entire second half.
Yes. Whatever. I know what I'm dealing with. My team knows how serious it is, but it's that time of the year. We all sacrificing our bodies and going through things. It's the playoffs. Nobody. I doubt anybody feels 100%. But you step on that floor. Do what you can, give it your all. And it's just all about trying to figure out how to win.
Jaylen Brown, pretty good on his own. I actually there's a world where if Al hadn't been so good, if Tatum, it's hard to ignore Tatum going for 37 points and doing all he did offensively. But I actually thought Jaylen Brown turned the tenor of this game. So they come out in the third quarter. We know how much of a disaster the third quarter was the other night. And
No.
Don't go listen.
Was it?
I didn't check the numbers, but I'm assuming no one listened to that podcast. I was a little upset about it.
Or they came here to vent with you.
Well, I hope.
One of the two.
The small handful of you that came to YouTube.
But a much different third quarter here tonight.
Seeking therapy. Much different. And part of it was because Jaylen Brown goes out there and sets a defensive tone, takes on the challenge of guarding Paolo Banchero, who was a thorn in the Celtics side, both throughout the series, but especially tonight, and made sure the Celtics didn't have that disaster third quarter like the other night where things spiraled away. And Jaylen still gets his offense, finishes not a super efficient night, 6 of 16, but gets 21 points, 11 rebounds. He admitted after the game he wasn't quite himself, that you could tell that both legs weren't during his walk-off with Abby. He said, I didn't feel to my normal self, and that means his knee was probably hurting him. And I told you there's going to be nights where it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. But on bad nights, he can go out and defend Paolo and change the tenor of the game and give you 20-something points. Like that. This is what made Jaylen invaluable last year when he was winning MVP.
And
trophies.
you said something in the post game that I think everyone can relate to and was on your side. At least all the Celtics fans are on your side about is. He wasn't even his full self, and the first thing that you said was, that's a good sign.
Unreal, right?
That is a good sign that he is playing at this caliber. The other night, no, not the most recent night on Friday when they lost in Game 3, but the previous night, he goes off with 30-plus points and doing his thing. And so I think, look, the Celtics are just trying to fight their way through this series. Mm-hmm. I feel over it, and I'm not saying, over it meaning, I don't want to see another flagrant foul against the Celtics. I'm over it. But maybe it is preparing them to go up against either the Knicks. Pacers are the Pistons. Yep. Pacers too. But the Pistons are a gritty, physical team. And who knows if it's going to be Knicks Pistons. But either way, they can go into the next series being like, all right, let's take care of business, which they still have to do. But it starts with Jayson Tatum, but having Jaylen Brown be Jaylen Brown, that's what you need going into the depths of this playoffs.
Well, no disrespect to Universal Studios, but Jaylen doesn't want to go back to Orlando later next week or this week or whatever week it is.
I don't think any of them do.
Here's his post game.
Jaylen, everybody, when we come to shoot around or whatever, everybody talks about we need to play with more pace, more tempo. But obviously, Orlando is doing something to prevent that. The third quarter was kind of a real slog. What is Orlando doing to kind of prevent you guys from playing at a faster pace?
They're picking up. The physicality one. but they've been picking up our guards full court, trying to make it tough on us. And then they're just long and athletic at the rim. So they a good defensive team, a great defensive team. And we just had to find our spots, and we found a way to win tonight.
And Chris, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And one of the strengths of the team is how anybody can put up points, but they're cutting everybody off. You guys didn't get anything from the bench in this particular game, which is unusual. Again, what kind of pressure does it put on you and Jayson as the two primary guys, and what are they doing to take those guys away?
They just being physical. I think that's what their emphasis has been. I think they're staying at home a lot, so just forcing me and JT to make plays over their guys, and JT did great at that tonight. I could be better. I will be better in spots. I didn't feel like I was aggressive as I needed to be. But they're just forcing us to make plays, one-on-one, trying to bait us into that. But if we got a great matchup, we just got to be able to make them pay. And JT made them pay tonight. And in spots, we was able to get to the free throw line, et cetera. But I think I can be even better. So I'm looking forward to Game 5.
Kristaps obviously missed a lot of the playoffs last year. How much have you and him talked about him being a bigger part of this run this year around? And obviously started the series slow, bounced back a little bit in this one. What did you think of his game tonight?
Yeah, we've been talking about it all year long, just preparing for these moments. Body-wise, just taking care of your body. KP's I think in much better shape than he was last year, physically, mentally, more prepared. And tonight he had an excellent game. I think that putback he got when the game was tied, he missed the layup from the pass from JT, got the rebound and dunked it, and they called the foul and won. I think that's when the game started to shift in the fourth quarter. And then from there, we were able to give ourselves a little bit of a cushion, but that was a huge play. So now KP he's been preparing himself for these moments, and today was an example of that work just showing up.
Jaylen back here. It was tied with the 4:18 left. They're relentless. They're making runs. You guys can't get really any separation. What happened in the last 4:18? It just seemed like a bunch of little things. Al's block, Payton's offensive rebound. Just like you guys had to get grimier than they were. Like it seemed like in that stretch.
Yeah, we had to get more physical. We had the rebound. That was big. JT had a great rebounding game. He had 14 rebounds, but we just had a collective effort on the glass. And I think that was the difference, not a lot of second chance opportunities for them tonight. And I think that made a big difference, especially in the fourth quarter as well. Just, taking care of the boards, taking care of the trenches, taking care of the little plays like that, the physicality, not fouling for unnecessary reasons, and just playing basketball, Yeah, I still think we can be better, but way to close the game out, and that was a fun one.
Jaylen, back to Al. When you see him diving into the Orlando bench, coming up with those blocks, when he's making those energy plays, what does it do for you guys?
Yeah, it riles us up. If Al can do it, fourth quarter, game on the line, there's no excuses for nobody else. So it just rallies the troops. You know what I mean? It just anchors us down. And our physicality was great tonight. I thought we were a lot more physical with Banchero, just making it tough for him, but Orlando's a really good team. They coach well. They're physical. Defensively, they've been great this series. So it's not over. We gotta close them out because we don't want to come back here.
JB, you and JT have built amazing chemistry over the years. How will you describe your connection on the court right now of both of you, and what's going to be the mindset for the next game to try to close out that series at home?
I think just trust. We've seen a lot. We've been through a lot of playoff basketball. So just picking and choosing when to get to your spots, when to take over the game, and when to make the little small plays. Tonight, JT had it rolling. So I just tried to be aggressive in my spots, and when I did get it, just to give him a break and a breather, because he had it rolling tonight. But I could be even better. For sure, as I'm navigating through each and every game. I'm looking forward to Game 5.
Jaylen, you mentioned Jayson. Obviously, he had that big stretch down to close the game. Joe mentioned the word poised. You've been in those spots before, too. What does it take to stay poised in those moments, especially against the team as physical as Orlando's been this series?
Yeah, like you said, poised is a great word because, they want to speed you up. They want you to take ill-advised shots, and they try to bait you into that. And we just gotta just be patient. Just be patient. Just even slow things down. Be even more patient. And if you got a matchup, get to your spot and then make a play. And I think down the stretch, like JT was great at that in the second half, down the stretch in the fourth quarter particularly. And it's gonna be a long playoff run. We gotta close out, but we're gonna need more of that down the line for sure.
Jaylen, as you mentioned, you guys have a big opportunity to knock them out at home on Tuesday. Just you talk about the how much it meant to get this win and get that opportunity at home to knock them out.
Yeah, no, this was a big win. This was a big win on the road in a tough physical environment with a team that's been playing well, and a team that's been eager to take us out. So tonight was a big win. We get our rest and we rally the troops and get back to it back in Boston on our home floor.
The award-winning 24 Auto Group is the easy choice for your next car, truck, or SUV. 11 locations and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Shop the brands you know and love, backed by savings and service you can count on. Plus, buy 3 and get 1 free for all tire purchases, with 11 convenient locations across the South Shore of Massachusetts.
24 has the knack to save you more. Visit us in store or online at 24autogroup.com.
You mentioned it, I think it's a good point we should bring up, is you never want to have to grind through round one. Like, you hope that by being a 1 or 2 seed that it makes it a little bit easier, the path a little bit easier. We can all agree, like, the magic of all the play-in teams were probably the most challenging. Maybe Miami would have pushed you depending on which version you get. But, like, Chicago, Atlanta, he would have just rolled those teams offensively. So what can you take from this series besides the fact that, like, you got a bunch of guys nursing injuries because it's been pretty physical? Well, whoever's next, it's going to seem a lot easier. That's no disrespect to, let's say it is the Knicks, who are up 3-1 after getting some help from the officials today to get to the finish line against the Pistons. But, like, as much as the Knicks came in with this reputation of being a great defensive team, and they have wing defenders that they can throw at the Jays, they're not going to play as physical or as gritty as this Orlando team. The threes are going to come easier. You almost set a NBA record on opening night against the Knicks. They just couldn't get over that final hump. And I wonder if just all of a sudden, it's nothing. I'm not even trying to suggest it's going to be easy, but it's going to feel like, oh my God, that round one prepared you for whatever you're going to see moving forward. And maybe you're going to be like, oh, this isn't as daunting as it might have seemed otherwise.
Physically, I don't think it will be as daunting. Let's say it is the Knicks, okay? Let's just speak hypotheticals. If it is the Knicks, if it's the Pistons, it may be a little more
Pistons, it's going to be tough. 3-1, uphill climb.
Right.
You lost 2 at home.
Right.
Chances are it's the Knicks.
But it will be a smarter challenge. It will it'll be more challenging, from a smarter standpoint, because Jaylen Brunson is a very, not underrated, because I don't think he is, but he is one of the toughest guards to defend. This guy has one of the best mid-range games. Mm-hmm. I'm really curious to see. You have Jayson Tatum's fadeaway jumper that no one can guard. Jayson Tatum's fadeaway is outrageous. And on top of that, like, if he's matched up, and I'm not saying JT is going to guard Brunson, but Brunson, who has a good mid-range game, it's going to be more skills against skills, 3-point percentage. Like, it's going to come down to the nitty-grittiness of efficiency. Mm-hmm. And so, if we're looking at this series, like, it's amazing. I think Eddie said this. Each series is different. Each playoff game, each series
quarter,
is different.
Each minute,
and I think this one is like literally blood, sweat, tears grinded out. But when it comes to the next one, and if we're assuming it's Celtics Knicks, it may not be physicality, but it's going to be efficiency and who can outsmart the other and make the right shots and take them at the right time. I think, like, maybe I don't want to say take your foot off the gas, because that's the last thing. And look, they're going to be exhausted after this series, but they're still pushing through. Yeah. So the whoever is next, I just want to see the Celtics be a little bit more efficient shooting wise. Like, I feel like they didn't shoot the 3-ball that well. I want to see Kristaps Porzingis having himself the night he had, even though he had blood coming down his face, like the fun that he had doing that. I feel like we're missing that. In the past
even tonight, 7 of 14 for Porzingis, 19 points. Like, it was. I didn't think he was great defensively to start the game. got in the foul trouble, and that limited how much he played. But to get to 19 points, to do 50% shooting from the floor, pretty solid.
And this may not even be his series, and that's okay. Also, Drew Holiday has missed the past 2 games, so wait till Drew is back in the mix. That does change the flow. It does.
It's going to be important. I think we've learned in that Game 3 loss, when you lost your mind for small stretches, always nice to have Drew Holiday to be able to kind of reel you back in to play defense. He was guarding Boncaro early in this series. You lose that defender. You lose a little bit of your grit and what makes you different. And hopefully he gets that hamstring right. Hope he didn't. We still don't know exactly when he did it. I hope it wasn't on that dunk.
I was actually going to ask you, do you know when he did that?
I don't think he's had a media session since. And but yeah, like we're left to speculate. It could just be something that was bothering him even before. But when we joked about he only had one regular season dunk, and then he goes up and it was like almost, oh my God, how did he do that? He doesn't do that very often. And
that's why he was off tonight.
So maybe it took him out of 2 games
said,
jumping that high.
I can't be doing that at my age anymore.
Now I'm joking.
Oh, man. You know what? That dunk was worth it. That dunk was epic.
It was a big part of getting to the finish line of that game. All right, Game 5, Tuesday night.
Oh, Chris, I'm so excited. I'm excited.
8:30. I don't love the 8:30 part of it.
Yeah, it's real late. Really late.
Like I said, there's gonna be a lot of time for Celtics fans to maybe wander around the North Station area, go to the North End, do
get
your
a
thing,
little rowdy,
get your cannolis, maybe have some beverages before you get into that building, bring some energy.
It's gonna be loud. It's going to be very, very loud.
I do think, and again, because it's been a not even chippy. I guess you could say if nothing else, it's been physical. And there'll be some sort of flare up in this one. Every game has featured something. Every time I look up, Jamal Mosley's in a huddle yelling at somebody or on the floor, and I don't think Tatum's taken too kindly to that. But how important is it to you to just get this thing done?
It's
on
huge.
Tuesday night?
It is huge. I want this series to wrap up. I'm respectfully over it. And I say that because I just want to see these guys healthy. And I think, look, credit to Orlando. I think that if you look at the numbers from the end of the regular season, from the overall regular season to how the Celtics are playing in the first round, efficiency shot-wise and stuff, the Magic are doing something, and I think it's their physicality.
9 of 31 beyond the three-point arc tonight. No, not a lot of teams did that to the Celtics this year.
They're doing whatever they're doing. They're not getting the win here like they did tonight, but they're doing something to bother the Celtics enough that's taking them away from their flow and their rhythm. So I respect that. That's what the playoffs is about. You can argue, the refs need to call some more calls or the flagrant fouls or this and that, but this is what Orlando is doing to try to get past round 1. I don't think it's working. I don't think it will work. Excuse me, but Game 5 is important. I want to see. We said at least I said Celtics in the beginning of this. Celtics in 5. So now Celtics, please, let's get to round 2. Fans, I can't wait. I hope you guys come pack the concourse, and I think it's going to be loud. I want to see Kristaps Porzingis have back-to-back threes from the top of the key. I want it to be that kind of night. And Peyton Pritchard to do his thing.
It's funny you mentioned the predictions because I think we all said on paper you look at it, you said how are the Magic going to score enough, and we said maybe they'd win in Celtics in 4, but Hart said 4. Brain said 5. You a lot for the Celtics losing their mind in Game 3, and hopefully. The one thing they showed consistently at the end of last season and throughout the playoff run was they knew take care of business and just finish it off. Don't let things fester. No series beyond 5 games. So there's an opportunity here to keep that streak going. Chance to finish off these Magic. Be done with that. Don't have to hear about Contavious Caldwell-Pope until
I can't wait to not say
November of next year. Beyond the 3-point arc, he's been Contavious Caldwell. Nope. He did hit 2 threes tonight. He got better. I can't slander him.
You flexed with that one.
Yeah, I know. It was a lot more fun. I missed it on the
playoff. Forsberg has been on it.
It's because just as you've said and eloquently pointed out, you just get to a point where you see these teams so much, you just kind of get sick of them. Now I walk away with so much more respect for the Magic than I probably had coming in.
Agreed.
Because I love the way they play, and when they're healthy, they're going to be a pest, and they should be like a top 4, top 5 seed next season. I think their team you got to watch long term. And what Paolo and Franz are doing at 22 is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what's crazy is his age.
It's
22.
I'm blown away by that team, and yet, like the Celtics, I'm sick seeing them. I'm ready for the series to be done. I'm ready for whatever's next. Give us the Knicks, because the Knicks don't play defense
that'll
to
be a
this
good
level.
one.
But then we're getting too far ahead. We got to get through Tuesday night. So everybody go subscribe, go check us out on the YouTube page. We'll be rocking from the concourse on Tuesday night. We'll be doing the podcast
Come
from the
hang.
floor. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.